Off the top at 5 tonight, a police officer shot, multiple suspects in custody, and multiple scenes spanning across the city of Memphis. ABC 24 is spread out bringing you team coverage this evening. We start with what we know so far out of southwest Memphis. That's where all of this started, where the shooting happened, leaving lots of people affected. Our Rebecca Butcher is there with an update tonight. And Rebecca, what have we learned so far? Any new developments?
It's still a very active, large police presence here in southwest Memphis on the Whitehaven area. We know that a suspect shot a police officer earlier today, and a trio has been detained, but a suspect, the shooter, has not yet been named. Now, this is what we know. We've learned from MPD that the officer was shot in Rush to Regional 1 in a police cruiser, might we add, after that person was shot by a citizen. A second officer was trying to assist and crashed into a black sedan and ended up in someone's front yard. Now, the officer who was shot is critical but stable. The second one is expected to be okay. We know from police that the officer who was shot was responding to an investigation, an operation with MPD involving 2 stolen vehicles. Now, we did hear from MPD Chief C.J. Davis. Take a listen.
Initially, we didn't know who all was involved. We had 3 different scenes that we were working. So as information was coming in, we were trying to determine where our suspects were, what the condition was of the officers and anybody else that was involved in the incident. So as we were made aware that we had another individual that was involved in the car crash, we were very concerned about that person as well.
Yeah, and we're still working to learn the condition of that citizen who was in that black stand here behind me at Shelby Drive and Horn Lake Road. We've been here since this news broke. 4 hours later, this scene is still very active, the largest of 3 in this area. We do know that MPD, they detained those 3 people. They are people of interest, although they have not been named as suspects. They were spotted in an Infiniti, a silver Infiniti, which matched the description police say of the suspect's vehicle. Rudy?
So for clarity, Rebecca, let me ask you this before we let you go. Were those suspects that are in custody right now, were they the subjects of that investigation? Do we know that?
Right. This is what we know from Memphis Police. They say that they were spotted in a silver Infiniti somewhere near the Rain Station area. We believe that's a station out here in the Whitehaven area where MPD are. We know very little yet about those 3 people detained. We just know they were in a silver Infiniti that matched the description of this suspect, this shooter's car that police say that they are looking for. We do want to share the information on those plates, which you can find online. But right now, we just know that they are people of interest. Reach out to a spokesperson with MPD on whether or not they are still in custody at this point, and if that is who police are looking for in this shooter.
Rebecca Butcher, thanks a lot. Well, throughout the hunt for suspects, schools nearby were on lockdown. That included Jeter K-8, Doubletree Elementary, Westwood High School, and Chickasaw Middle School. Now, right now, lockdowns have been lifted, but we continue our team coverage near Doubletree Elementary. Our Brad Broders is in Westwood area tonight. And Brad, lots of frantic parents rushed to school campuses this afternoon, I'm sure.
Yeah, they certainly did, Rudy. And right now here near Doubletree Elementary, you can still see crime tape and a lingering investigation. And parents are understandably concerned because this happened just feet away from Doubletree Elementary, where this investigation is still ongoing. That's one of those 4 MSCS schools that were on precautionary lockdown at some point this afternoon. Now here at Doubletree Elementary, we saw parents picking up their children and grandchildren a little after 3 this afternoon once that lockdown was lifted at this school. But those parents and grandparents still express a mix of both concern and relief, knowing that their children were inside learning, just as Memphis Police were making arrests of those 3 people of interest just yards away on a residential street.
I'm grateful that they had all of these young men and officers and patrolmen on duty to come and apprehend them before something serious happened. You know, we got to protect our young people. We have to. So I'm glad that they were here to do their job.
Now, meanwhile, I was also earlier this afternoon, I was nearby Jeter K-8 school, and we saw that parents had to be rerouted to pick up their children once the lockdown ended at that school. That's because for several hours, Memphis Police closed through traffic on both Horn Lake Road and Shelby Drive. That's where Jeter K-8 is located, so you can understand the frustrations and headaches for parents trying to get their children picked up from Jeter K-8, but they could not for hours go right to the school. So the school I saw was rerouting a lot of those parents to pick up their children at a different location, Rudy.
Brad, obviously a very rattled and shaken up parent there. Quick question, looking behind you there, looks like things have cleared up quite a bit. What is the scene as you see it right now?
Yeah, right now things are a lot calmer on the street here at Doubletree Elementary School. Parents have picked up their children for the day. But I just want to flip it around one more time for you, Rudy. You can still see this is a very active scene right here on Deer Trail Lane. That's right across the street from Doubletree Elementary. Crime tape is still up on this street and a nearby street I can see. And as you can see, there's still police presumably collecting evidence. So while the school is out for the day, parents have picked them up, everyone's back home safe, police are still doing a lot of work right here on this Southwest Memphis street. Live in Southwest Memphis, I'm Brad Broders. All
right, Brad, thanks a lot. Well, our team coverage continues tonight. That officer who was shot was taken to Regional 1 Hospital in critical condition but stable. ABC 24's Zaria Oates is at the hospital with an update on that officer's condition tonight. So, Zaria, has that condition changed for the officer?
Yeah, Rudy, what we know right now is that, upon arrival, officers were blocking the exits and on-ramps and off-ramps, as is procedure when an officer is shot or injured in the line of duty. We do know that the person transported in the ambulance to Regional 1 up here behind me was a citizen, not an officer. The officers who were injured, one was shot, was transferred both in police vehicles. One was shot and one was injured in the crash following the shooting. Now, both of those officers are expected to be stable still. As of 2 p.m., both officers were stable. The one who was shot was in critical condition but stable. The one who was not shot but was in the car during the car accident was not in critical condition. Now, what we do know is that MPD, the Memphis Fire Department, Tennessee Highway Patrol, and even Shelby County Sheriff's Office were all here lining the streets. Now the traffic has kind of lightened up a little bit as officers continue to go back onto their regular duty. As of now, we've heard from both Commander Rudolph and Chief Davis stating that multiple people have been detained. Since then, we have seen one additional person transported into Regional 1, as well as multiple officers who talked about what seemed to be filling out an incident report on this ramp here where they did bring up the ambulance. Now, we're not quite sure which officers were involved in filling out those incident reports, but since we do know that the officers were transported via police vehicle, that may be a reason that those things were involved. Rudy, we do not have updated information on the citizen who was injured, but we hope to get that soon. Back to you, Rudy.
All right, Zaria, thanks a lot. So to wrap this up for you tonight with our team coverage, here's what we know. A police officer was shot, and the department now has 3 suspects in custody. That officer is in critical condition, as Zaria just told you, and students at the 3 lockdown schools are home safe after going into lockdown during the hunt for the suspects just hours ago. We've been on for hours now bringing you coverage of this incident this afternoon, but ABC 24 is staying on top of everything for you. As we continue to get updates, we'll send alerts to your phone through the ABC 24 app, so download it now if you haven't done it already. It's free in the Apple and Google Play Store.